Picking up in Ramjoo's Diaries, we have Mayor Darawala reading for us first. Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, Jai Baba.
Jay Baba.
After the formal exchange of news, Baba informed me that as he was a year hereafter going to settle at one place again, and that most probably at Arangaon, I could also join him immediately. Of course, some occupation will be arranged for me later on Ahmednagar to maintain my family. I agreed to do so, but as the marriage of my sister-in-law are arranged to take place on the 1st, Baba allowed me to return to Lonavala and stay there up to the 7th of April. Accordingly, I left Arangon walking towards the Ahmednagar station to catch the train for Pune. Pune. Labor Yoga. After attending marriage ceremonies, I returned back to Arangaon and duly joined the Mandali. The labor yoga is in full swing. Example, the Mandali are subject to very hard work in which the Gamela iron pan used by laborers plays a prominent part. All have to get up at 5 a.m. from 6 to 7. Each member has to recite prayers separately according to his respective faith. Then between 7 to 8, we get our breakfast consisting of a glass of weak tea without milk and a few almond seeds. The latter are only given to those who are very weak and indisposed. We have to bring water from the well to the post office and do the necessary work about our own cooking, etc. From 8 to 11, the labor begins in all serious. The work generally consists of helping the mason in the erection of a new. Ramjoo's Diary, Arangaon Juice. Little low, please. I need a little low. Okay. Room for Baba near the mess quarters and other repairs to the grounds and buildings, including drawing water out of the well. Preparing and providing mud and lime to the mason, shifting stones in a cart and otherwise working with limestones, milk, digging, carrying earth and playing amateur masons, carpenters, coolies and whatnot wherever needed. At 11, we are freed to take baths and meals consisting of dal, rice, and to take rest and wash clothes when necessary. From 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., all get together jointly, recite or sing the special song of the names of God composed by Baba. Huda Farmata Allah. Can you put it a little up, please? Auramasta Ram Yastan Hu. Priest and ended up by Baba's poem. It is the splendor of God that exists in the elements of nature, earth and water and fire. You are the master and the lord of the two worlds, corporeal and spiritual. In every atom is complete the light of your existence. The lamp keeps burning itself in love of God, although the death of moth lies in the eye, flame of lamp. The rose blossoms every morning in the remembrance of God, while the nightingale, deeply in love, hazards its lifetime in pursuit of the rose in the garden. Love exists in everything, and uh, every being. Praise be to the love that pervades every home and health. Religion and society know not what pure love is, in which the beloved image is ever fully present in contemplation. Love is uh, beyond the achievement of riches, power, intellections, and normal consciousness. A king and a beggar are of equal status in the realm of love. Love making is not easy, which every man can venture. It is a commonly which is difficult to purchase in the market of love. Poverty, helpless ruination, and oppression of such hardship falls to the lot of true lover. Servitude, slavery, coupled with the onslaught of infamy, millions of such trials waylay the difficult path of stages of love. Holy Zoroaster, how much hardship did he bear for the world? The end of the Savior came to the stroke of an enemy's sword, nailed to the cross, his hands and feet. The body of Christ was taken to the cross of Mansur, gave up the body being hung up on the gallows. The foundation of Mazista Zoroastrian religion was laid on love. The knot was introduced by Zoroaster. The religious thread that the Parsis wear round the waist represents the bond of love. The existence of truth was proved by Zoroaster through love. Uh, through love made truth prevail, though thought and deed of all man. O Zoroaster, the Savior bestow love on the adherents is my prayer in the kingdom of Aura Mazda God. From
Uh,
4:30.
thank you, Mara. Mayor, thank you very much. Yeah. The special song of the names of God, composed by Baba. Khuda, Paramatman, Allah, Ahura Mazda, Ram, Yazdan, Hu, preceded and ended by Baba's poem. It is the splendor of God that exists in the four elements of nature: earth, air, water, and fire. You are the master and the Lord of the two worlds, corporeal and spiritual. In every atom is concealed the light of your existence. The lamp keeps burning itself in the love of God, although the death of the moth lies in the eye, the flame of the lamp. The rose blossoms every morning in the remembrance of God, while the nightingale, deeply in love, hazards its lifetime in pursuit of the rose in the garden. Love exists in everything and in every being. Praise be to the love that pervades every home and hearth. Religion and society know not what pure love is, in which the beloved's image is ever fully present in contemplation. Love is beyond the achievement of riches, power, intelligence, and normal consciousness. A king and a beggar are of equal status in the realm of love. Love making is not easy, which every man can venture. It is a commodity which is difficult to purchase in the market of love. Poverty, helplessness, ruination, and oppression. Every such hardship falls to the lot of the true lover. Servitude, slavery coupled with the onslaught of infamy. Millions of such trials waylay the difficult path or stages of love. Holy Zoroaster, how much hardship did he bear for the world? The end of this savior came at the stroke of an enemy's sword. Nailed to the cross, his hands and feet, the body of Christ was taken on the cross. Mansoor gave up his body, being hung on the gallows. The foundation of Mazd-i Yazni, Zoroastrian religion, was laid on love. The knot that was introduced by Zoroaster in the religious thread that the Parsis wear around the waist represents the bond of love. The existence of truth was proved by Zoroaster through love. May truth prevail in thought, word, and deed of all men. O Zoroaster the Savior, bestow love on your adherents is my prayer in the kingdom of Ahura Mazd, God. From 4:30, again, the labor begins up to 6 p.m. Then once more, we have to bring water, etc., for our own use, and then take supper, which consists of wheat bread and potatoes, prepared by Masaji. In the evening, an occasional lecture or song from Baba terminates the busy day, and at about 10, we go to bed. April 13, 1924. Ram Navmi is the subtitle. A small canopy is temporarily arranged in front of Baba's newly built room in connection with the Ram Navmi, the Hindu festival when snakes are offered milk. The celebrations today. Many visitors from Pune and Ahmednagar have arrived for the occasion, including Bailey, Barsop, Padri, Masaji, Khan Saheb, Kaikushru, and Bikolia with his singing party. The Mandalay are observing a fast since yesterday. The singing took place for a couple of hours in the canopy, followed by a short story by Bikolia of Ram, and ended with the formal ceremonies of his birth. The usual dal rice was served to the guests as well as to ourselves, to break our fast with. After that, we were busy for some hours cleaning the basins and utensils, storing water and other necessary work in connection with the distribution of cooked food to the poor, which is to be held tomorrow. In the evening, we were also entertained with a grand lecture by Baba, the sum total of which is one should think twice before joining a perfect master. And once one attaches to him, one should completely surrender oneself to him for good. Baba also passed some important stray remarks to the effect that, quote, once I stay here, the atmosphere of this place will be greatly heightened, both spiritually and materially. And I have a great mission to perform in my life in connection with the whole world, the outburst of which will take place in the near future. At 7 in the evening, the local storyteller, with his 2 sons to help him with drums and harmonium, arrived. After the formal ceremonies, the religious story began. An appropriate subject, contact with a spiritual master, was ably expressed and explained in a clear voice, with dramatic acting and with musical accompaniment, which provided an interesting entertainment that terminated at a late hour. April 14, 1924, subtitle, A Great Treat. Baba appeared at the post office shouting to the Mandalay that last night, this is a quote, last night I had not a moment's sleep for a particular reason, end quote. Then calling all the Mandalay together, he said, quote, yesterday, Kandi Ram asked train fare from me to see his mother, who is sick at Pune, which I gave him. But now I am making a condition that hereafter I shall never give you any money or make anyone give any of you the same for any reason. If one's relative is dangerously ill, he can go on foot. But if he does otherwise at anybody's expense, he is no longer mine, but will be considered to have given me up. Therefore, anybody who wishes to free himself at this moment may say so, and I will furnish his return journey expenses to his place. But all agreed to stick to him and agreed to the condition. As prearranged, people began to get together to partake of the feast from 11 o'clock, which lasted till late in the evening. About 1,000 souls, having enjoyed the dal rice and potatoes prepared by Chowdhury, who was, of course, helped thoroughly by all of us. A meeting was called of the Mandalay, as well as the guests, to consider a subject brought forward by Rustum in the afternoon. The chairmanship was given to Mr. A.H. Joffer, or rather, quote unquote, bucketmanship, as a bucket was provided for the presiding authority, while the rest of us took our seats on the ground as usual. The proposal was that a distinctive sign should be displayed by all those who were devoted to Baba, Maharaj, and Babajan. Some suggested a shirt, the other a certain headgear, and so on. Doctor found some fault with the quote unquote bucket ship, and Abdullah had to vacate it when Doctor was selected to preside and was given a gamala to sit upon. The discussion was once again resumed on the proposal, but many were found against its being adopted. Baba also disfavored the same and said, "Ours is not a society. Any mark of distinction will take away freedom and put the mind under a restriction." Hence, the idea was dropped and the meeting was dissolved, but only after the two chairmen had, under their short-lived authority, made each other sit down and get up thrice upon some slight mistake committed by them, respectively, in the meeting. In the evening, Baba, Padri, and some others went for a spin in a car to Ahmednagar, where Padri was left to have his palms treated. The work has already begun to play havoc with our hands and feet generally, and Padri's in particular, who has got his palms badly bruised, battered, and inflamed. The day ended with an interesting display of a local game by the local villagers. April 15, 1924, baptism of the Jopti. Today, being arranged a holiday, we got up at 6:30 instead of 5 a.m. Another meeting was held in the afternoon to determine a suitable name for Baba's new room. Scores of them were suggested, but Jopti, or hut, hinted by Baba, was finally approved by all, and accordingly, it is decided to call the new room as such. The second proposal was about the names to be given to the three animals. Rustam's mother-in-law's offer of a white horse has been accepted by Baba, and it has been further decided to get also a white dog and a white ox. So after some discussion, Sufi, Sant, and Sadhu were finally approved for the horse, ox, and dog, respectively. And the meeting dispersed. The muktas. In the afternoon, all the guests departed for their respective places. Baba recited a few poems with Adi playing the sitar in the evening. when he also gave an explanation as follows. There are two kinds of mukta, that is freedom. One is called vida mukta and the other janma mukta. King Janak was vida mukta, which means that he did not possess external feelings. He was not affected with any outward attractions regarding his body. Janak placed his one foot in burning fire and the other in icy cold water at the same time, and did not feel their effect in the least. Sai Baba was also vida mukta. It is said that Sai Baba often used to put his arm in a boiling dish to serve as a big spoon. The Janma Mukta means one who is liberated from the time of birth, as Ram, Krishna, Christ, etc. Vida Mukta has one disadvantage. He cannot draw upon himself anybody's calamity. Supposing you have a severe headache. Now, to relieve you from it, a perfect master must suffer the same amount of suffering. Since a vida mukta has no feelings of body, how can he free the opposite party from headache? Adi here asked Baba, then how can he be called a perfect master who cannot do good to others? Baba said, he can draw or share others' calamities, but in small proportions. In parentheses, mentally, I suppose, close parentheses. The point of explanation here drifted to two kinds of realized beings, and Baba continued. The game of Atya Patya was played by the ancient sages who invented the same on spiritual lines. The middle path, extending vertically from end to end, is that of illusion. And the rest of the horizontal paths or barriers are those of lust, anger, and greed. Now, one kind of realized being crossing all barriers of lust, anger, and greed safely reaches the other side, that is God, and remains there drowned. That is, he cannot help others to reach the goal achieved by himself. The other kind of realized being is he who, crossing all the lines, reaches the other side, God, and again returns to the starting point, once again crossing the lines, this time for others. So he who returns, perfect master, can alone take with him many more to the other end, God, in the twinkling of an eye. Thus, a perfect master, after getting freed from illusion, has again to involve himself in illusion to free others from it. As Swami Vivekananda says, the real teacher is he who brings himself down to the level of the student. For example, Baba continued, some pearls are lying in a heap of filth. Now, in order to take them out, one has to thrust his hands in it. Likewise, a perfect master has to involve himself in the filth of illusion at times. Ernie, could you unmute and continue, please?
April 16th, 1924. A hot day. Today our routine began again, and with it the hard labor. The work centered around the small structure used as bathrooms, while the troops were at Arangan. Myself and Padre were unfortunately caught napping by Baba while exchanging some remarks idly. Baba flung the stick he had in his hands towards Padre, who narrowly missed the blessing. Both of us were severely reproached and suspended from work for some time, as Padre is to be taken to the hospital again for an operation on his palm. Rustam asked Baba also to accompany them for a spin. Upon this, Adi offered to drive them, and this led to a heated discussion between him and Baba, which was ended after Baba returned from Ahmednagar, where Adi repented for his temper. Padre, who had gotten a cut on his palm, was left at Nagar for further treatment. April 17th, 1924. Another hot day. In the absence of our work manager, Padre, I had the duty of getting all up at 5 in the morning, which I did, and the usual process began. Because of some miscarriage of Baba's instructions, he got very angry with Rustam. Nervous was sent to Rustam at Ahmednagar to fall at his feet and say, I salute you on behalf of Baba. Please send the lime cart. According to Nervous, Rustam was much abashed and asked him to please salute Baba on my behalf 20 times and say it is not due to my negligence that the lime cart did not turn up in time. Baba had ordered me not to hire a cart, and her own cart could not be secured in time. In the meantime, again trouble arose between Baba and Adi. Then came Masaji's turn. Baba took him right and left for his breaking size and general carelessness in cooking more than is actually required, etc., etc. At last, Masaji gave way. He burst out that if allowed, he would clear away from Arangan. Baba said, yes, if you feel my words, you'd better not stay with me. Masaji replied, I don't remind your taunts, but how am I to know whether you really mean me wasting the foodstuffs or not? It is all right. Stay with me, said Baba. Just then, the leader of the neighboring village, Kejgan, unfortunately or fortunately, appeared on the scene to seek Baba's permission for a song fest. He was turned away amidst a shower of abuse. Later on, the atmosphere was calmed down. The Kejgan leader was also allowed to come for a song fest. Rustam, Padre, and Gulma came from Nagar in the car, while we were reciting the usual prayers in the afternoon. Golmi, as of late, brought Baba's meals, some of which was taken by Baba and the rest distributed to others, especially to Mr. Marucci, to break the fast he was made to observe since yesterday, just as we were going to sleep. The Kejian singing party arrived, and we were all asked to go to Zapdi. The singing lasted up until 12 o'clock. Baba has extended our sleeping hours up to 7 a.m. tomorrow, and all are exempted from morning prayers. While I'm also exempted from the labor work because of the fever that has taken a sound grip on me since this evening. April 18th, 1924. Down. All the members, as prearranged, got up today at 7 this morning, and excepting myself, took to the work. The bathroom repairs have all been completed, and the work of paving the front space facing the Zapti with Shahabad stones has been started. Again, Baba gets angry with Rustam for the latter's breach of Baba's instructions by sending 2 cartloads of Shahabad stones in hired carts. He comes to the post office greatly disturbed, saying he would leave the place and Mandalay members completely. The fever was by now very acute with me. Upon finding me in this condition, Baba applied cologne water on my head and scolded the others with neglecting and carelessness, saying, "All of you still possess too much of selfishness. When this vanishes, then alone disinterestedness will proceed from you. Give up self-idea and always be for others." I think the Mandalay could do nothing more for me under the circumstances and order, except giving me tea, etc., which Kostaji did. By this time, Rustam and Mother Golmai arrived. Baba asked the former either to follow his instructions or let him alone. Under the pretext of Rustam's mistake and the Mandalay's carelessness in looking after my illness, he said he was going to Happy Valley, about 18 miles from Arangon, for a change, taking only Nervous with him. Baba was really going to put his threat into action when I said I cannot stay in this condition without proper treatment in his absence. I said I wouldn't mind non-medical attendance if Baba were nearby, but in his absence, I was not prepared to lie with fever under the present circumstances. Then Baba offered me 2 alternatives, either to stay in a hospital or at Rustam's place at Nagar. I accepted the latter, but again declared my preference for home. At this, Baba said he would put off his going away if 2 of us undertook the managership of home and labor departments with responsibility and looked after the respective duties without involving Baba in them. Padre accepted the labor managership, but none came forward for the other department. Thereupon, Rustam offered to take the post, and Baba finally abandoned his visit to Happy Valley. Subsequently, on Gostaji's undertaking to look after the domestic affairs, Baba freed Rustam of his responsibility, and the matter ended. In the evening, during a discourse, Baba remarked, Maya, illusion, always draws a person to itself, thus hinders him on his way to truth. The reason of its so doing is that it understands that once a person reaches the truth, it will have to accept slavery. Maya rolls beneath the feet of a realized one. Maya conquers man in ignorance, while man rules over Maya in knowledge. April 19th, 1924, a ceremony. The Hindu Mandalay are observing today Hanuman's birthday. Hence, all are exempted from the daily morning prayers and instead join the Hindu Mandalay at 6 a.m. in their singing. Just as the function came to an end, Rustam and Mother Golmai arrived with the worship articles and sweets. Baba is annoyed to find them so very late and asked Rustam, "Why have you come at all when you had to do so at this time?" Rustam apologizes and says they were delayed because of a puncture to the car tire on the way. Nevertheless, the sweets are in time and are duly distributed by Baba to all. The labor work on the pavement was carried on for an extra hour more, that is up to 7 p.m., although I had been given light work because of yesterday's fever. After supper, however, the trouble begins. All are called to the Zapti in Baba's presence, and he asks Masaji if there is any surplus of cooked food. The reply is yes. Chowdhury is then asked the same question. He says, "At times there remains some surplus, but it is not wasted, as I and Kandaram anyhow finish it up even if others refuse to take more." Upon hearing this, Baba severely takes to task the non-Hindu Mandali in general, and Masaji in particular, as to why we waste a certain amount of food daily, contrary to the Hindus. In reply to Baba's question, Masaji defends himself on the plea of having cooked a lesser quantity than yesterday, and others declare their inability to account for their irregularity. But Gastaji replied very impolitely. This adds fuel to the fire of wrath. Baba says that from tomorrow we are to fall at the feet of every Hindu member. Then suddenly he asks Barsop, "Will you fall at their feet?" Not getting a prompt reply, Baba jumps at him and gives him a ringing slap. Somehow, nervous comes across Baba, and he too gets a few good slaps and pushed aside. Then comes Karu, the mason's turn. Baba rushes toward him, but he gets off only with a lecture on hard work. Then he is asked by Baba whether he would work extra hours tonight. Karu replies, "Yes, if I am ordered, but I am deadly exhausted." Upon this, Baba allows him to go and sleep. Then for an hour, all were made to dig holes 2 feet deep around the proposed pavement for the shambali, plants with small white fragrant flowers that have been ordered for the purpose. All this time, an unpleasant duel of words was being exchanged between Gastaji and Baba. The former maintained that Baba did not keep his promise of not involving him in a scene with the rest of the Mandali, while Baba retorted, had I not kept my word, I would never bear your harsh and taunting words with patience. It is because of that word that I overtook your disgraceful attitude towards me. Had there been any other of the Mandalay in your place today, I would have stifled him to death. Without any further confusion, we go to sleep. But Karu seems to have taken to his heels in terror, as there is no sign of him or his bedding.
I think that's the
April,
only occasion that I've heard of Baba, you know, s- telling somebody that he would have killed them, right?
don't know what to make of that. April 20th, 1924, The Coming Man. As usual, Rustam and Mother came with Baba's food, but rather late at 4 p.m. All are called to hear the criticism appearing in a recent journal of the Iranian Association on Maharaji's biography in Gujarati, as well as upon an article given in the same paper by Mr. Desai, giving as his opinion that the coming world teacher is Meher Baba. The same is read to the Mandali by Rustam under Baba's instruction. After that, we take to the labor work as usual. The pavement work in front of Baba's Zapodi was estimated to be finished in 1 week. But through the collective efforts of the Mandali, with heart and soul and head and hands, it is completed by this evening. That is within 2 days. This daily labor to which we are subjected is exacted from us to the letter. Neither the scorching sun of April nor the screeching winds and cold peculiar to Arangan are taking into account. During the appointed hours, all have to work at a stretch almost to the point of gasping for breath, with a giddy head and tottering legs. After supper, Baba asks if we are willing to do some more work. All agree, and soon take to some digging work for about an hour.
Why don't you take a break, Ernie, and I'll take a turn. April 21, 1924, sour grapes. During the work hours in the morning, Baba comes and cheers us with the prospect of a fruit treat, as Navroz is expected here in the afternoon. This topic is often referred to by Baba when at last Navroz arrives with his family. Somebody is hurried forward to bring the supposed fruit basket from the carriage. But Navroz declares there is no fruit brought. The way Baba took him to task for causing us disappointment may well be imagined. In the evening hours, necessary manure, etc., is collected, and the shambeli plants are planted along the two sides of the pavement. In the evening, Rustam and Mother once again come with sweets and the news of a son having been born to Rustam. So after all, we get a treat. April 22nd, 1924, a visitor. From today, Adi and Jal are entrusted with the duty of watering the new plants daily from 7:30 to 10 in the morning and 4:30 to 7 in the evening, and exempted from all other labor. In the afternoon, a man appears at the well, and after drinking water, declares himself to be hungry. We take him before Baba, who, noticing his rickety figure with eyes absorbed in deep meditation, declares him to be a must, spiritually intoxicated, and a man with a very good mental state. Food and sweets are given to him under Baba's orders. When asked as to his native place and the reason for his present state, He cannot give any audible answer, only nodding his head. Baba also gives him a shirt and pants and makes him put it on in place of a piece of rag on his loins. Gustaji has of late begun to work very hard. Even when the Mandalay are having a rest, he is seen watering the cement joints of the new pavement in the scorching sun. Navroz has also joined the Labor Party and is busy repairing the pump on the well, etc. In the evening, a week-old woman with her 2 sons comes begging for food. She is also taken in Baba's presence. Seeing her pitiable plight, Baba orders Chowdhury to cook fresh dal rice. In the meantime, the elder boy, who has a small musical instrument, is asked by Baba to sing. He recites the instructive and interesting life of Sri Gopi Chand and Jalandharnath Maharaj in couplets while playing his musical instrument. After half an hour, they are served with hot food. Some clothes are also given to the boys and their mother by Baba, and they depart. Of late, there is a grudge between Barsop and Gustaji because of the former's request for a prayer carpet and the latter's refusal. Hence, when all of us were sitting around Baba in the evening, he asks Barsop whether his anger for Gustaji has subsided. Barsop replying in the negative, Baba calls him near and explains. No matter however harshly the opposite party treats you, you should be calm. Never mind how much you are found fault with, blamed, or spoken piercing words. You should bear all with patience. This is real bravery and courage. Man can make a whole army yield to him, but he cannot overcome his own wrath. End quote. Referring to Christ's humility, Baba continued, there are 3 things, as explained by Ramakrishna Paramahansa, that keep a person away from God. They are lust, greed, and anger. The first 2, lust and greed, may be overcome, but the control of the temper is the hardest of all. If you overcome these 3 enemies, you are a saint. Who is a saint? No higher than a person who controls lust, greed, and anger. As a drastic measure to overcome this difficult object, Baba lays down the following 2 rules. Number 1, every member of the company should salute and touch with hands the other's feet and say, "You are my brother," every morning. Number 2, anyone who speaks with anger or taunt to any other member at any time within 24 hours, the speaker to report himself to Baba at once, when Baba will fall at his feet and salute him. Barsop says the first rule is against his religion. Baba explains that the rule means touching another's feet with hands only. There was no question of bowing his head or keeping his head on the feet. But Barsop insists that even touching the feet is against his religion. Hence, Baba issues special instructions for Barsop to go to every member and shake hands instead. Then Baba asks me if I have any religious objection. I say I don't. I say I don't consider the rules to be infringing the religion. And I accept the first. But I will not report and get saluted by Baba, but prefer going home. Padre and Nervous also decline to accept the second condition, but upon persuasion, they give in and the meeting is dispersed. In a subsequent private interview, Baba was good enough to exempt me from the second condition, and the question of my leaving Erangel is dropped. Ernie, could you unmute and continue for about 5 minutes?
April 23rd, 1924. Hoisting of the flag. Today the work is chiefly composed of making a compound or putting a fence all around Baba's Zopti and the pavement to protect the plants. Some time ago, it was decided that a flag be attached near Baba's Zopti, as is the rule with such places. But the question of color was disputed by all. The Hindus preferred a red flag. Well, I said it would be too Hindu-like. It should be green. The same argument was pushed forward by Hindus that green was typically Muslim emblem. The Zoroastrian Mandali disliked both. Hence, a compromising solution was evolved by Baba, that the flag be formed of 7 colors. Accordingly, such a flag was prepared by Mrs. Navroji. After the labor hours, the flag is hoisted near Baba's Zopdi in the evening. In the night, after supper, when all are sitting around Baba, I asked him what were the stars. Baba replying said, "These are also circles like the planets, but many of the latter are inhabited by people. They resemble this earth in culture, science, and every material advancement. But spiritually, our circle, that is the earth, is the most advanced. Nonetheless, even on other planets, there are spiritual masters in the flesh, but most of the perfect masters are born on this earth. These circles appear to be at great distances from each other, but they are really close to one another. After realization, man beholds all of them, millions over millions, like small bubbles issuing forth from his own self. That is, he experiences himself bigger than everything in being. He finds he is the main source, the maker of all. The material planes are different, but the spiritual plane is one throughout." April 24th, 1924. Nervous, non-cooperates. The new rules framed day before yesterday about saluting each other and reporting the loss of temper to Baba are declared to come in force from today. Baba salutes Padre, for the latter having overlooked Baba's instructions while seated for dinner. By way of teasing, Baba salutes Nervous. The latter takes it very seriously, and amidst tears, he takes his coat and is about to leave Erangel. Baba explains to him that he saluted him of his own accord and not for any fault. So he, Nervous, should not interfere in his actions. But it has no effect on Nervous, who, although still willing to obey all Baba's orders, save that of staying with him, persists in his desire to go away. A lengthy discussion ensued, with Nervous crying all the while. Hence, Baba finally cancels the second rule of reporting and saluting for Nervous. But this again brings no change, and Nervous is bent upon going away. Finally, Baba allows Nervous to go and offers him money for train fare, but he refuses to take it. Then Baba asks him how he will go without money. Nervous shows the gold buttons that he has on his shirt. Baba snatches away the buttons and asks Nervous to go away on 3 conditions. That is, to beg, borrow, or steal. Nervous accepts the conditions and is still ready to go. Thereupon, Baba says that he will follow him wherever he goes. Nervous is off at last, but Baba follows him. After some time, we find both returning back, and Nervous is, after all, saved.
Uh, thanks, Ernie. We'll pick up here, a peep in the future next time.